What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So I was thinking today, after Wicked from Blythe Street lost his life recently in prison, there were a lot of videos made about him. Prior to him losing his life, there were a lot of videos made about him. I've spoken to people that have met him and that were very afraid of him. They said, hey, this dude really made me nervous. It was something about him, being around him. But the people that were making videos about him, not one of them knew him. That I'm aware of, not one of them knew him. Not one of them had a one-on-one conversation with him. Not one of them knew how he thought. Not one of them saw the evolution of Wicked. I'm thinking about, and you guys let me know in the comments if you would like this to happen or if this video itself is enough for you. But I was thinking that Free World Robert, he hasn't put out any content in a while. Free World Robert and I, along with Wicked, we shared leadership in New Folsom back in the early 2000s. And so we could probably put something together and just talk about our experiences with them, some memories, and share with you guys, because it seems like a lot of people are intrigued by him. There's a lot that's been said about him. Some true, some not. And that'll be what it'll be, But Robert and I, again, we know him, we knew him, and we were there for the beginning. And, we all know how it ended up. Now, I want to be clear because somebody asked a question, and it was somebody from the 818. And they asked the question if Wicked and I ever had a fallout. When you're in that world, you're going to have disagreements. And we did have somewhat of a falling out. But let me explain to you. So when I told the story about the drinking fountain being moved, it was actually Wicked from Blythe Street that chose to move that water fountain. And that day I was actually in my cell, and they told me, hey, did you know what's, and then I said, nah, what's up? And yeah, homeboy's fucking moving the drinking fountain. I said, fuck, give me 5 minutes, tell who to pop me out, because I was yard crew. So, boom, I went out there because I figured it was going to go down over that, right? Luckily, it didn't. Cooler heads prevailed, and what was done was done. Now, I said in the beginning, I was the one that brought Wicked in, as far as gave him his first opportunity at having a voice. And somebody asked if I was a sponsor. I was a nobody. I was just like everyone else. I just had responsibilities, man. And so I pulled Wicked in, and I began to educate him on my way of thinking and those that I had been schooled by, our way of thinking. Unfortunately, he had moved from my building, the same building as I, to a different building. And he began getting education from someone who also had a position of leadership on the yard with us. But this other individual, I believe, was envious of me. And he got in Wicked's ear, and they formed a bond. And Wicked never turned his back on me. I want to make sure that's clear. He didn't turn his back on me or anything like that. But you know, you can't plant seeds in stone. And his ears weren't made of stone when someone was attempting to plant seeds. And so I recognized it, and I had to then put him at arm's distance, right? Not long after the drinking fountain incident, there was another incident that occurred, and it was one of these weird situations. This will probably trip people out. There was a homie, and he used to hit dope. He had somebody bringing in dope. Turned out it was a white dude from Marysville, from Sacramento, Marysville, something like that. And so he comes up to me one day, and I had just I had connections in several places. My favorite connect, best dope in the world. You know, my stuff would sell like hotcakes. Was coming out of the Coachella Valley. Anybody that knows anything about that whole area right there, that is the corridor for that type of dope back then. But when you're in the dope game, you're always looking, where can I squeeze the most profit? And so I had just got a plug that I had never utilized, right? And I was curious. And then the homie comes to me and he's like, hey, Holmes, can I talk to you? I said, yeah, what's up? And he goes, look, Holmes, this vato, and he was talking about the wood. He was like, this vato's been bringing in my stuff. You know, he goes, I never let nobody know. It's, you know, it's my business with him. He goes, but the last clavo, he goes, you know, I only hit small stuff. He goes, the last clavo I got, it came up a gram short. And he goes, he's saying it got lost. He goes, I think he burnt me. I don't know for sure. He goes, if you want, have him, I'll tell him it's my stuff, and I'll have him bring it in. And then if it's clipped, let me know and I'll whack him. I said, all right, cool. I didn't care about if anything came up missing because I already had dope. I had money. I had everything going. This was me. It's a two-headed monster right there, right? It has where I get to find out, is this connect worth me even wasting my time with? One thing. And the other thing is this other dude a thief? And I can figure both out in one shot. Let's do that. So I had a homeboy of mine that I used to have working for me on the streets. Go pick up the dope and then drive from Santa Barbara all the way to Marysville and drop it off. I knew exactly how it was wrapped. My thing was always the same. Whenever I hit dope, it's going to come in 3 balloons. I already know what color the balloons are going to be. They're not always going to be the same color. And it's 3 because I give the runner a third. So I would always say, pick one, send me 2. Fairest thing to do, right? So the clavo comes in, the dope comes in. The homie brings it to me. And he brings it to me. One balloon was about this big. And it was flat. And another balloon was about this big. It was the wrong color. Whenever I would have a clavo, I said, it's going to be in 3. All 3 are the same. They're equal amounts. So the fact that one was big and one was small, as well as the color of the balloon, I knew immediately. So when he slid it under the door, I looked at it, I said, he fucked with it, Holmes. And he goes, how do you know? And I said, because I know my dope. And I said, hold on. And I busted it open. I wanted to see something. I went to cut it. This is heroin. I went to cut it and it exploded. Like, it was like glass. Bam! And I told him he cut it with coffee, Holmes. Somebody cut this with coffee. Me messing with dope in prison, never used. But me slinging dope, as much as I did, I became aware of the little tricks of the trade. People will get it in their cell and then try to mix it up with coffee. Same color. But coffee's going to make it hard. So anyways, I tell him, I'm going to give you some to take to the back, but you got your answer, Holmes. The bottle's dirty. Okay. This was an experienced homie. Usually, when we're going to do a pegada, we're going to hit somebody, we're going to whack somebody like this, my preference is always going to be this. The homie that came and set up the scenario, again, he was a seasoned homie. He had been in the shoe. He had been put in work. He had done jale, done business. I want to pair him up because we sent two. I want to pair him up with someone who's new to this. It's their time. Because I want a seasoned dude to be with somebody that's green and learn from him in the process. The homie that's seasoned, that knows what he's doing, will be able to keep an eye on the homie and handle business. This is just the way I was, the way I functioned. Well, the day it was supposed to happen, Wicked took it upon himself to send the other vato to the side and go with the homie who set the whole thing up. They whacked him, and I was very upset. Wicked had a leadership position. When you hold a leadership position, you don't leave unless you got in trouble or there's a riot. And so I knew he was frustrated with certain things that were going on. The guy that had been in his ear, that was, in leadership with us, but was my rival, he was gone. He had gone home. I think he didn't like the fact that, Wicked didn't like the fact that he didn't get a lot of support for moving that drinking fountain. I said in the video when I originally made that video, that isn't something that we decided that we were going to do. It wasn't worth what could have happened, the money that would have got fucked up. People talk this stuff and they have no idea, no clue whatsoever, the politics of the Southerners. That's why it cracks me up when people talk about other factions when they have no idea. People say, oh, the Southerners only do stuff when they're deep. No, the Southerners are on the yard back then. See, now things are different, but back then, Southerners were on the yard to generate income. Period. When you go to war, you're fucking off the income for the guys that are in the Bay. The guys that are in the Bay are going to want to know, how come I'm not getting my fucking money? And there better be a good reason. So, Wicked moving that drinking fountain put us in a position to where we were going to have to answer to why nobody was getting money, and it was going to fall on Wicked. And I think when he saw that the rest of us were like, the fuck was that? Like, what was that over? It frustrated him. And so he jumped on this jale and he went and, and then the next jale, I sent stuff back there and I sent a kite to Wicked. And I said, hey, it's unfortunate that you chose to get involved in that when you didn't have to. You left a seat open here in the leadership when we didn't need a seat open. And two seasoned vatos went after one dude. And that dude put up a fight. Don't get me wrong. That wood, there was no run in him. He fought. He got plugged for it. But I told him it would have been better if it would have been the homie and a youngster. That was another thing he took offense to. He was just not in a good place mentally. He was new to the politicking. And he was abrasive. And it rubbed some people wrong. But I still didn't turn on him. I could have, but I didn't. Next thing you know, I wind up in the hole. And this is where a situation occurred where he made a judgment call. And I want to remind you, those of you that didn't see the video, the first time, the original video that I spoke about this, being an ad say, you had the leadership, people that were on the leadership from B facility, and then those that were on C facility leadership that were back there. Those that were back there from C facility leadership, C facility had the same leadership for years. B facility, there was a lot of shuffling. There were people making mistakes, people being replaced. There was a lot of shuffling. And so when we got to the back and we were all there, they were lightweight politicking because they didn't know if we were going to be looking into their stuff. We didn't care about their stuff. That was for the people in the Bay to look into. We were back there doing whatever we were doing. We weren't involved in that. But so Wicked had found himself while he was back there alone, as far as the only one that was leadership from C facility. And he had all these dudes not trusting him because they didn't trust each other. It was just the wildest shit. I think that's the worst situation I had ever seen like that. And I can't get into details, but I think it was the worst I had ever seen as far as in, I'd say, politicking blatantly over a nothing issue, over paranoia, kind of, right? So I get back there and Wicked makes a judgment call. And the judgment call was not wise. And it affected something that we had going on, right? And in that moment, right there, I had the right to, and this wasn't something where he cooperated, nothing foul like that, nothing like that. But it was a misstep, a big misstep between he and I. And me having been the one that put him in position, I could have easily ended everything for him at that point. And 9 out of 10 dudes would have, especially them B facility cats, right? I liked him. That was still my camarada. We are not seeing eye to eye, but at the end of the day, I know he's got me and I got him. But now, all these years later, seeing what happened to him, you know, it's one of those things where you think to yourself, if I would have just clipped his wings then, would all these people have died along the way that died? Would he have caught the cases that he wound up catching? And would he still be alive? Who knows? Who knows? But I know his path would have been different. But it is what it is, I guess, right? We all chose a path. He was a hardliner. I was a hardliner. He was a hardliner. He had ideas and he stuck to his guns. And like I said, I put him in the game back then. Again, I was a nobody. Don't ever get it mixed up. I always make it clear I was a nobody. I just had more responsibilities sometimes than others. But I was the one who said, come on, let's do this. And he was willing to bump heads with me. So that's a glimpse into the stubbornness of that man. But like I said, no matter how much we bumped heads, I knew he had me and I had him. And again, if you guys want me to do a video with Free World Robert where, you know, because he was his cellie. And, you know, he never knew about the thing that happened in I'd say. And I told him, yeah, this happened. He was like, what? He was like, he only did that because he knew you would forgive him. And I said, yeah, but you still don't do that. You know? Anyways, man, that's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out of here.